can't I? Today I'm floundering. Nothing connects. It's Lyndie. She mentioned it. First time in ages. The boiler packed up again. The water was stone cold for her bath. I said something foolish about how she deserved something better, and she snapped. It all came flooding out. I can usually do this one in, I don't know, 30 minutes? Less. Not the cryptic one, of course. Some masochist must devise that. It's Ella Fitzgerald that's throwing it. Unless arsenic's wrong. Sorry, I don't want to miss my cue. A gunshot followed by a scream. I shouldn't, I know, but it takes the edge off. It's that too that's the worst. Bloody interminable, to be honest. I mean, in terms of the waiting. The writing's a bit patchy too. Not that I've told anyone. You can't afford to. Wonderful, darling. I try not to clock watch. I should read something, shouldn't I? Learn a language. But no, the crossword usually does the trick. If I got too engrossed, well, I'm afraid I might just do it again. It was only the once, after all. But that was enough, according to Lyndie. I mean, I know how it must have threw her. Oh, I try not to visualize that moment when she waited and nothing. No one. Oh, I mustn't. I really mustn't. I can feel my heart speeding up. The West End is very unforgiving, of course. And that's where we were. All the hard work had paid off. The grafting, the bit parts, a cough and a sneeze. The "you were wonderful, darling," in all the right places. We'd finally made it. Lyndie and me in the rat trap. It was the prize. The reward for all those years of horrible bedsits, with rackety beds and stains in the bath. Cheese on toast as a main meal. Well, I say cheese on toast. That's if we were lucky. Pringles when we were really struggling. I've not been able to look at a Pringle since. I remember dreaming of a proper roast dinner. Yorkshire pudding, soused in gravy. I couldn't even think of toad in the hole. Much too painful. But I digress, which is what I do fairly often, so I don't have to think about my mistake or blunder. Once you've heard what's happened, I think you'll agree that blunder is best. Poor Lyndie. I forgot to murder her. That's the thing. I should have come on and murdered her. But I was deep in a biography of John Osborne, the angry young man of his day, whilst I was in the dressing room waiting for my cue. I got to this rather salacious bit and, well, I lost all sense of the time. That's why, well, you can imagine, clock watching is second nature to me now. I don't know how she managed. I think she actually had to strangle herself. Not easy, even for those trained in the Stanislavski method. Your own hands round your throat, eyes popping, the final death rattle. No, not even Olivia Colman, the flavour of the month. Oh, but evidently a lovely person. I mean, even for her, it would have been a bit of a stretch. Luckily, they dimmed the lights at the crucial moment. But still, well, it was rather like Acorn Antiques, to be honest. I looked up from my biography of John Osborne. Actually, I don't mind saying, but I think he was deeply unkind to Jill Bennet, and indeed to all but the last of his wives. Not that I knew them, although I felt that I did. You see, that's the thing for an actor. You start to inhabit people. It's a very dangerous game. I once read of the actor playing Dr. Jekyll in a production put on just after the Whitechapel murders, who was so convincing as Mr. Hyde that people actually accused him of being the Ripper. And that's what I mean. A dangerous game. Anyway, back to the rat trap. Lyndie burst in. I looked up in alarm. Her face was strange. Crumpled, as if she'd suffered some terrible blow, which of course she had. A cold horror possessed me. I know that sounds a bit melodramatic, but it's perfectly true. "You forgot to murder me," she cried. They had to hold her back. I mean, I couldn't blame her. Can you imagine? Cheese on toast and Pringles for so many years. Frozen rooms with cigarette burns on the carpet and stains in the bath. And yes, the West End is very unforgiving. Oh, we staggered along for a bit, but I knew in my heart it was over. Because when our contracts came to an end, they replaced not only myself, who of course deserved it, but Lyndie as well. It seems as if we came as a job lot. Lyndie and me. I've a very good mouthwash, in case you're worried. Does the trick every time. I like to do a bit of a warm-up before I go on. It's bloody freezing in here. Perhaps you don't feel it. I certainly do. I'm glad you're here, actually. I worry in case my voice comes out as a croak, sitting here, silent for so long. Buttercup, 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 wuffa-ba, 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 wuffa-ba. Of course, in the early days, I was enchanted. I felt I'd found my calling. I suppose we all do, don't we? I remember... Oh, what was his name? Bartleby? Barnabas? Barnabas, the first friend I ever made at drama school. I remember him saying, "Just think, Rupert, we'll never have to do anything we don't want to again." Poor old Barnabas. He did a bit of telly, rather a lot of German soldiers. An antiques dealer in Heartbeat was his high point. But still, I look back at our time at drama school with real fondness now. It was when I discovered Chekhov. I loved Chekhov. Such humour. So sad. I always thought I might play the doctor in the cherry orchard one day. I remember one rehearsal. The director said, quite out of nowhere, "I can't hear your shoes squeaking, Rupert." I said, "Well, that's because I'm wearing trainers." He wasn't very impressed. "I must hear the squeak. It's mentioned in the text. Listen, and I'll show you." And he did. And I heard the squeak when he walked. And he was wearing trainers too. But you see, he made me hear it through the power of suggestion. It was a kind of an epiphany, really, knowing we could make an audience see and hear things that weren't actually there. I think he died rather tragically, the wonderful director. Fell out of a porthole on a transatlantic cruise. It was in all the papers. Some sort of mystery attached. There always is, of course. Not long now before the gunshot, you'll be relieved to hear. I don't think I ever felt that squeaky shoe moment again. Oh, I've inhabited parts, of course, in the most unexpected ways. An evil character can take you over. I know, in The Duchess of Malfi, I was physically sick. Luckily, it was after I'd just come off the stage. Hearing voices comes with the territory too, but in a good way, though. I had a very small part in The Archers at one point, something to do with the Grundys. One of Eddie's cunning plans that, as usual, went terribly wrong. But what was alarming was that a few months after my brief sojourn in Ambridge, I was getting the Sunday papers when I suddenly heard Clary's voice. I mean, to be taken over by Clary came as something of a shock. Then I saw that the lady in front of me had a little radio tucked into her anorak pocket. She was listening to the omnibus. You can imagine the relief. Oh, here we go. I'll leave you. I like to be lurking in the wings with a few minutes to spare. I haven't quite got over that missed cue, as you may have gathered. I find it deeply puzzling how John Osborne could have been so unkind to his wives. I do take some pride in the fact that not murdering Lyndie was my only sin. Though in the end, an unforgivable one. It's odd. But when the lights go up at the end of a show, and we've had our moment bowing and scraping, it often feels to me as if you're the creatures of light, and we're confined to the dark. It's a feeling that grows stronger over the years. Lyndie says I overthink things, and I do. It's the waiting that does it. I could reference Godot here, but I digress.